I am once again asking for your financial support.
Hey all, I've been really active over on this app, TikTok, where my videos have received hundreds of thousands of views. I also do my podcast on YouTube, which is another small channel that I don't get paid for. My TikTok nor my YouTube channel are monetized, so I make zero money. If you enjoy the stuff that I make, please consider being a patron of my Patreon page. Don't get me wrong, you sharing, liking, and enjoying the content is enough for me, but if you want to go that extra step, and help your boy eat and maybe pay a bill or two, especially in a landscape where content and music are shared extensively without any real credit or compensation going to the artist. Patreon.com/Neil P. Neil P. Thanks in advance. Love you, love you. I'm here with Joey V.
What up?
My friend, Joey V, a.k.a. the Son of Rock, who, I mean, we met in like fucking 2004, dude. I've known this guy for a really long time.
Yeah.
So we're bros. We're going to bro down. But first, welcome to SUPcast number 78, I believe. I want to tell a quick story about something that happened on Sunday, because I only told Facebook about this, and Facebook gave me a bunch of dumb advice. So I'm going to go into it real quick. I was having a bad day. My mom's having like health complications. I'm not going to really go into it in detail, but I was pissed off. I came back here. I was pissed off, and then I went for a walk because I was pissed off. And as I'm walking, I see this dude, and he's got a small dog, and he's kind of yanking up on the dog, choking the dog, and I see him hitting the dog, and I look over at him, and I'm like, "You're a fucking asshole." And if I wasn't having a bad day, honestly, I wouldn't have said shit.
Yeah.
But I was having a fucking bad day, and I saw him hitting this dog, so I called him an asshole. Next thing I know, this dude is with his wife, walks across the street, and walks right up to me, and he's like, whether it's my kids or my fucking dog, nobody tells me what to do.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and I'm just like, you're a fucking asshole. And then as he's rolling up to me, I'm like, what are you going to do, assault me in the street? He walks right up to me and pushes me.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, okay, this dude just pushed me. I could swing on this guy, but I don't know. I ate a little bit of mushrooms that day. I was already having kind of a weird day, you know. I was just sad about my mom, yada yada. So I didn't do anything. I just said, "You're an asshole," and then he said, "Say it to my fucking face." And I said, "You're an asshole. You're beating up on a dog." And then I started walking away, and he called me a bitch, and I'm just like, "You're an asshole," and I kept walking. He didn't do anything. He pushed me the one time, which technically is assault, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the rules on that personally.
Get the mic a little closer to you.
All right, hey,
there you go. But
that's a terrible story.
Well, and this is the thing is, I was taking a dump afterwards, and I put this shit on Facebook. I just like wrote out what happened. It's essentially like I called the guy an asshole. And he pushed me, and he tried to get me to hit him, and I didn't, and I walked away just calling him an asshole. Say, who beats up a dog? I called him an asshole. And the craziest part about all of it is everyone on Facebook is like, you should have kicked his ass. You should have taken the dog. You should have called the cops. You should have called the cops. You should have kicked his ass, and you should have had the cops come while you were fucking his wife. Like, people were saying all types of shit. People were saying you should have shot him. And then people were telling me that I did the right thing.
You did the right thing
by not swinging on him because
then you'd be an OCJ for the weekend. And what's the fucking point of that? You don't know that dude. You'll never see him again, you know?
Yeah. So, you know, I haven't gotten in a fight since 1999, and that was with my little brother. So the way I look at it is, you know, I don't want to hurt my hands. I'm 41 years old. My hands are delicate.
Sure.
So I didn't fucking swing on him. I just was kind of flabbergasted that I called the guy an asshole. I mean, granted, those are fighting words. You call a stranger an asshole, he might want to fight you.
Sure. Yeah.
So I call him an asshole, but then next thing I know, he actually put his hands on me, and I didn't do anything. I couldn't believe that I was in the middle of the street, in the middle of the day, on a Sunday, just walking, and next thing, this guy's trying to literally fight me in front of his wife.
I thought you were fucking with me at first because this reminds me of a fake story
I
used to tell, and it ended with someone pushing me on a hood, grabbing my leg and pulling it. I thought you were gonna pull the I'm pulling your leg, but this really happened.
No, this is real.
This is real.
This isn't fake. This guy tried to fight me because I called him an asshole because he was hitting his tiny little dog. And yeah, but just the weirdest part about all of it, and I'm gonna quit the story in a second. The weirdest part about all of it is all these motherfuckers online. They remind me of them armchair quarterback motherfuckers.
Of course.
Yeah, the motherfuckers that, like my dad when I was growing up, would watch football and scream at the television and being like, oh, if that were me, I would have done a front flip over the guy and I would have caught the ball and I would have done cartwheels backwards and into the end zone. It's like, all these motherfuckers say what they would have done, what I should have done.
Yeah.
Call the cops, yada yada. But it's like,
fuck
dude,
all that noise, dude. Because those people, they're not going to be the ones in jail. You know what I mean? And that's what would have happened if you would have went and fuck this guy up. So you did the right thing, dude.
Also,
I applaud you.
Also, I'm not a fucking fighter. Who's to say that this dude isn't trained in MMA?
Sure, yeah.
And like was just waiting for someone to swing on him so he could twist him into a pretzel. I mean, I'm
Who's to say he didn't have a gun? You know
or a
what I
knife?
mean? Right.
Yeah, so
a dirty, rusty knife. That would have been terrible.
So I walked away. But the whole time I was walking away, I was like, who beats up a dog? You're an asshole. And he kept screaming, say it to my fucking face. And I'm just like, I just kept walking and kept being like, who beats up a dog? You're an asshole.
Well, it sounds like the chorus of your new tune. I think you need to write a song about this guy and displace that anger.
You got to put the mic closer.
Displace the anger.
There we go.
Into the new tune.
Try to keep the mic close to you at all.
All right.
Yeah, and then we can hear your melodious voice.
Cool.
So anyway, that's my story that happened on Sunday, and I just had to get it out on the podcast because it's ridiculous. I guess it's not ridiculous though, because when I was talking to my buddy, he said, yeah, if you call someone an asshole, get ready to fight, I guess.
Yeah. I'm not that dude, but there's plenty of dudes that are like that, right?
I guess. I haven't gotten, like I said, I haven't gotten in a fight since 1999, and that was with my little brother, and I won. So, but then he went in the army. Like, who knows? He could beat me up now.
Sure.
I'm fragile, dude. I have a bad back. My hips all messed up. I have shoulder problems. My wrists.
Yeah.
I'm fragile. I don't want to fight anyone, But that guy was an asshole. And honestly, someone did give me some good advice. They're like, just don't get involved with people because you never know. Because someone sent me a news article and someone got shot in the head for trying to get them to stop beating their dog.
Yeah.
And this was in like LA or something. So 9 days out of 10 days, I would have just walked by and not said anything, just been like, what an asshole. But I was having a bad day. And I said, you're an asshole. I fucking just, and he said, what'd you say? And the next thing I know, this dude who's like in his 50s and who's considerably smaller than me was putting his hands on me in the middle of the street, in the middle of the day, right in front of his wife. So weird, dude.
Wow.
But anyway, that was my Sunday. So let's get into it. I'm here with Joey V.
What up?
My friend. And we've been talking about doing this for a while, so thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me, man. You've had some really cool guests on here, so it's dope to be on here, man.
Yeah, what's nice now is we can do this shit in person,
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And I'm working on making it sound good and look good, and here we are.
I wasn't real confident in my streaming abilities from home because I've never really done anything with it like that. You know what I mean? So,
like a Zoom call type thing?
I mean, I've done FaceTime, I guess, and some Zoom calls. Yeah. But, I don't know. I'd rather do it in person. It's more organic and real, right?
Yeah. I feel like when I do the Zoom call, I'm constantly talking over someone. Like, and you do it just on accident because you're like, you can't really feel the vibe of the conversation. All right, it's my turn to talk, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Here, let me fix this real quick.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we did have mic stands, but it was blocking the faces of the guests. So.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, fucking A. Joey V. So, what's new in the world? First of all, introduce yourself. Say what you do.
I do a lot of shit, right?
Yeah, tell the internet who you are and what you do.
I play guitar and bass and program drums and record and engineer and all kinds of fun stuff, right? Like I started releasing solo music in a band called Lightning Party Cult, And in those bands, if you will, I record all the tracks, I program all the drums, I mix it all, engineer it all, master it all. And that's really fun, you know. It's a blessing to be able to do that. So yeah, that's me, man.
Now, back in the day when we first met, you were signed to a major label with your band Even the Odd.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I had the dude from Verve Pipe on here. You remember the freshman?
Yeah, I think we played some shows with them. I think we had the same booking agent at one point.
Yeah, that's wild. But what's weird is I'm just a dude that's been doing the punk rock thing, like small record labels and whatnot. So I have no idea I mean, it was the early 2000s, and y'all were signed to Sony Red, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like being on a major label back then?
It was a really trippy experience, you know. I grew up just studying music constantly, playing, reading about it. Every book or encyclopedia article I could get my hands on, I would totally immerse myself. Tons of records, you know. And, you know, I hadn't traveled much as a kid or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, you know, I'm like, I think I was 20, 21 years old. And there I am in New York, you know, going out to New York all the time and then touring all the time. It was a weird time because it was the early 2000s. You know, this was right after Napster was introduced and all the illegal downloading. So the entire industry was falling apart at the seams and nobody knew what the fuck to do, you know? Like, I remember like the year we released our album, I think it was like 2004. You know, album sales for the entire industry fell like 47% or something.
Wow.
And then it just got worse from there. You know, everybody thought Lars was an asshole. And he always said, I'm doing it for the kids that come up after me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, so it was kind of fucked because, you know, I talked to a lot of old timers that have been around in the game for a minute, and they all tell me, man, if you would have had that deal and done your shit, you know, 10 years, 15 years prior, you never have to worry about money again, you know, but it just didn't work out that way, you know?
Yeah, and because in the 90s, album sales generated a lot of income. I was just talking about this earlier when I was on the radio, that album sales was a big thing. Now, how does a band from Michigan, and where were y'all from?
They were from Ortonville. I was from Oxford. You know, it wasn't just album sales, you know, because the income wasn't there for the companies. There goes your marketing budget. There goes your tour support and all that shit. So, you were asking, like, how did we get in touch with them and shit?
Well, yeah. My question is, how does a band from Ortonville, Michigan get noticed by a major label? Like, how does that happen?
That was all set up before I was in the picture with the band. Two of the other two dudes in the band had actually been signed before that band. They were in a band called Intercourse, got signed to Madonna's label Maverick, released one or two albums, and then after that project fell apart, they started Even the Odd.
They used to play Wired Frog a lot, right?
Yeah, they played all over.
St. Andrews.
Yep. I don't believe they ever went on like a tour per se, but they were a big deal. They were on like fucking Sunday Night Heat, WWF. And I remember watching that shit and just being like, fuck yeah. Like, I was amazed, like, how these kids from Mortonville fucking get on WWF, you know? That's so fucking fresh. But
and you didn't know them back then, or did you?
I didn't know them, no. So we started playing shows at a venue that you played on a show with us and Drainer, Bonsai Bob's out in Lake Orion.
I remember that.
and we started playing with them. And, you know, my band was kind of fizzling out. That was Drainer at that time.
Yeah.
And they hit me up one night. You know, we had been kicking it and hanging out after we did some shows together. And we were promoting each other's shit. And, you know, they were the only dudes that would go out with me and glue fucking flyers and hand them out and shit, you know what I mean? So they called me up one night and they're like, yo, our bass player can't do it. We're about to leave for tour. We got a show at the Shelter in 2 days. Do you want to be our bass player? And I had never played bass beyond like maybe showing the bass player the riff I wrote.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I sat in my parents' basement for the first night and I wrote notes all down my arms. And I wore a suit coat at the show. People are thinking I'm like, fuck yeah, but I'm really like, all right, chorus 3, you know what I mean? Like, so we got through the set. It was awesome. And, the first thing we did when we first jammed the next night, we smoked a joint and wrote a song. And it came together real quick and was dope. And so it was just on from there, like the next 3.5 years, we were constantly on the road, constantly doing shows, promoting the record, all that. So.
And what was the record called?
Popular Among Van Owners.
Okay, I distinctly remember the sticker.
Yeah.
I had one on my pedal board case, and yeah. So the band, is it on streaming services?
It is on streaming services. Yep.
Okay, so look up Even the Odd, Popular Among Van Owners, and. So explain to me like the trajectory of a band in the early 2000s, signed to a major label, and then like where did it go from there?
Well, we were doing showcases for other major labels. There were several labels that were interested in buying out our contract and doing the second record. But it just kind of all fell apart, I don't want to get too much into like the personal details or anything, but it was a fun ride as far as the trajectory, it was a success that I had not seen at that point, and I was so fucking young. It was just fun all the time, a lot of work too, but a lot of fucking fun,
Yeah, we were going hard back then, if I remember.
Yeah, both of us.
Yeah, when I met you, you were fucking nuts. I was like, you're like, I'm Joey fucking B. And I was drinking a lot back then too, so I just remember being like, this dude's fun. And we did some shows.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, we've been friends ever since.
Pretty much.
It's a long fucking time. If we met in 2004, because we met right before, it was some sort of... it was this bougie Metro Times best of event where and we went there, but we just got smashed and went there because we had free tickets somehow. Or it was Real Detroit, something like that. We went to some local industry event and just got blottoed. And that's all I remember. I just remember you were sitting on my friend Justin's couch and
yeah, we came back to a house that you guys like rehearsed at or something. Or
yeah, my friend Justin and Noah and Casey and my friend Cooper, they all lived in Royal Oak.
Hell yeah.
They had a house, and yeah, I just remember you were wild, and I remember I like this guy. So
yeah,
it's a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. I don't know if I like that guy anymore, like I think back on those days and it was such a different time, like I look at bands now and like I feel kind of bad for them because I don't know, it's just so different than it was back then, Yeah,
we were just talking about that today. Hold on real quick. Yeah, we were just talking about the streaming age and the revenue stream from actual music is pretty much non-existent. We were talking about a band that had 200,000+ listeners a month on Spotify.
Okay.
And they posted their tour, pretty much their what the fuck do you call it?
Like accounting sheet?
Yeah, accounting. Yeah, they posted their accounting. Sorry, my brain's like stupid today.
You're good.
Yeah, but they went down to South by Southwest and did a bunch of shows and they lost money.
Okay.
And we were just saying that if it were in the age where you actually made money off your actual music, that might not be a thing.
Yeah.
But the one thing I did notice about their accounting, because they were very transparent, they posted all of their expenses.
Sure.
But as far as money they made, there wasn't any merchandise. And that's the first thing I noticed about that. I'm like, okay, well, how are you? Okay, you're gonna buy an Airbnb, you're gonna buy hotels. You're going to have to pay for gas. How are you going to offset that expense if you're not making that much money at the gig? You got to sell fucking t-shirts, bro.
T-shirts, coffee cups, toothpick sets, anything you can get your logo on, right?
Yeah, because you and I are children of the Dark Carnival.
This is true.
Like we grew up in Detroit, where ICP was a local phenomenon that became a national thing. Like I remember, and we can, dude. I remember I was a fucking freshman in high school, and this was 1995, and this dude was like wearing this T-shirt and had these like gruesome looking clowns on it. I'm like, what is that? He's like, Insane Clown Posse. He's like, you haven't heard of them? I'm like, no. He's like, it's fucking dope. They rap about killing people and cutting people's heads off. And at their shows, they spray fucking Faygo soda pop all over. And I'm like, this is amazing. He gave me a tape.
Yeah.
Like a dub tape back when you had 2 tape players.
Sure.
Because we're old. I'm 41. How old are you?
I'm 39.
Oh, I'm older than you are. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we're older.
Right.
And he gave me this tape, and I smoked weed with my friends, and we listened to it, and I never laughed that much in my entire life.
What tape was it?
It was like, so this was 95.
So Ringmaster, Terror Wheel.
He gave me Beverly Kills on tape.
Okay.
And I think Carnival of Carnage was on there.
Dope.
Yeah, and I just remember being like, this is the fucking most amazing shit. So so we were hip to ICP before Juggalo was even a thing.
Sure,
But,
yeah.
you know, this was back when they were more of a regional phenomenon as opposed to a national act that was like on MTV and causing all this controversy. That all happened Malenko era, which was 98.
Yeah.
When they got pulled by Disney.
97.
Was that 97?
Yeah.
Either way, those motherfuckers sold merch, and I remember reading.
They still do.
Yeah, exactly. I remember reading Violent J's biography, Behind the Paint, and just having it talk about the importance of having merchandise.
Yeah.
And so this band is on Twitter being like, oh, we didn't make any money going down to South by Southwest. It's like, where is the money from merchandise to offset your costs, bro?
It's funny you bring up Joe's book, because I always tell people, you know, when they're like, what can I read? What can I, you know, reference when they're getting into the industry? I always tell them to get that book, Behind the Paint, and This Business of Music, which is a law book, you know. I think I gave you a copy of it.
Yeah, you bought that for me as a gift.
Yeah.
I think I still have it.
Right on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. Yeah, it was the same for me, dude. I heard about them like 92, 93 on the playground in the trailer park where I grew up.
Yeah.
And some kid was like, you like that Metallica shit? You want to hear Real Evil? You should listen to Esham and ICP.
Real Evil. I love it.
They're wicked clown rappers. And I'm just like, whatever, man. And then I started hearing them, like my friends are playing them, like 93, 94. I thought that was so dope, you know. And then like 97 was when I really got into it and, you know, started going to shows and shit. And yeah.
Yeah, because people, it's like popular to dog them. And I feel like they had a huge redemption arc recently, though. They've been getting a lot of love.
Definitely. I think it's just like straight ignorant, anybody in the music industry that dogs them. How could you not respect them? You know, there's never been a radio hit. There's never been the big MTV Total Request Live single, but they've managed to create a fan base unlike any other in the music industry. And, you know, they throw their festival. Like, the craziest shit to me is when people are like, you know, people not in the industry or aren't really hip to music. You know, they're always like, oh, ICP, they're still doing stuff. And I'm just
funny,
like,
yeah.
I was like, how do you miss that? You know, like,
It happens all the time.
yeah. Yeah.
Because in a lot of people's minds, if the band or the artist isn't part of some sort of a news cycle,
Sure.
a lot of people assume that that artist isn't doing shit. Like, I don't know, people used to talk about like Sir Mix-a-Lot like that. They'd be like, Sir Mix-a-Lot, oh, he has other songs. When you hear Shaggy 2 Dope talk about Sir Mix-a-Lot, and he'll go on about how
He loves that shit.
he had a bunch of hits.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not major hits.
Buttermilk Biscuits.
Yeah.
and-
My Posse's on Broadway.
Fuck yeah, that's a great song.
And so, yeah, you kind of have to have your finger on the pulse of music to realize that people don't necessarily just stop. Like the dude in the Verve Pipe, that like back again to those dudes, Michigan band done well, the Verve Pipe. They didn't ever stop.
Right. Well, I think, you know, like adults stop. adults just
That's a good
grow
point.
up
Yeah.
and they're just like, they got kids, they got this or whatever the fuck, and like they don't have time for paying attention to music, which is just wild to me because they get stuck in this cycle of like listening to the same fucking shit for
It's boring,
decades,
dude.
you know? And I just couldn't even live like that. That's like eating Little Caesars every day or something, you know?
It's good every once in a while, yeah, but I understand what you're saying.
That's kind of what I meant by it's changed so much. Like, look at Britney Spears. Like, I couldn't tell you anything about her music since like 2001. And I doubt anybody else out there could either. But they could tell you who she's engaged to and, you know, what wild shit she's down to or whatever the fuck, you know. It's almost like the attention to music is, you know, it's like you said, you got to do some publicity stunt to get up in the news. You know what I mean? I look at half that celebrity news shit. I'm just like, it's a work. It's a work. They're just promoting their new shit. You know what I mean? I don't know.
That being said, what do you think about the Will Smith, Chris Rock thing?
I don't. It's not on my radar. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't pay. I've never really gotten into movies unless it's like a documentary about music. I'm always just music. You know what I mean? Like,
So you're all in 1,000% music and everything else kind of fuck it, right?
pretty much. I'm really grateful that like I still appreciate it as much as I did when I was a teenager. I've seen so many people, like when I wasn't even the odd, I was so scared because I met so many people that had been in the game and they hated fucking music. They never listened to music. They, you know, they just, it's weird to me, you know? Like, so I'm grateful I never got there with it, you know what I
That
mean?
shit happens, dude. My old drummer, he quit my band in 2016, and he didn't play his fucking drums for 5 years.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah,
That's wild.
but I can empathize with getting burnt out and being jaded by the industry, because you put all this effort into this thing that you believe in, and you give all of your time to touring on it, and you just work so hard, and you know, all the blood, sweat, and tears and the traveling, and you give up like your entire life, relationships, and your band still doesn't make it, or like doesn't find success the way you think the band deserves to, and that can sour your relationship with music. And it's done it for me before too. And the funny thing is that dude's first gig back was him playing with my band again.
Yeah. That was out in Cali, right?
Yeah, that was in Venice, and
Okay.
that was rad. But he was really fucking stoked on it.
I bet. Yeah, fuck yeah.
And he didn't miss.
He's a great drummer.
He didn't miss a fucking beat, dude. It's like he picked up right where he left off.
Hell yeah.
But this is where, you know, in my brain, I'm like, what if he never stopped? But dude he's balling out there. He's making money, and
Fuck yeah.
and his life he's taking care of business. So
Yeah.
when he quit the band, and he talked to me over the phone about it, and he just said, I got some bad news for you. And I knew immediately what he was gonna say. He's like, I don't want to do this shit anymore. And I'm like, okay. And then the next thing he said, and you can't fucking argue with this. You can't. I couldn't argue with this even for a second. He said, I don't want to live in a bar anymore. And like, how could I even fucking get mad at that?
I feel that. I mean, I've gone through it myself. I haven't done a lot of shows recently because of that reason. You know what I mean? Like, when I don't drink like that anymore. So like going to bars, I don't go to bars in my free time. You know what I mean? Like, it's very fucking rare. So I get it, but you can't get bitter, man. I mean, at the end of the day, it's so much fresher than having to cut the lawn and, you know, live with somebody you hate and fucking like, I don't know. It does take so much fucking sacrifice to do it for real, and make some noise with your music. But to me, it's just fucking worth it, right? Like, I mean, a lot of people do this for the chicks at the beginning, or the money, or the gratitude, or you know, the social media fucking posts or whatever. But like, I do this shit because I need to. You know what I mean?
I'm
like,
the same, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's funny is I was at the dentist yesterday, and a homegirl was cleaning my teeth, And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be touring as much. And she said, so you're going to stop doing music? I said, fuck no. Like it ain't like that. It's like, if I'm not touring, I'm still going to be like streaming or recording or doing some dumb shit. But I just don't know if I'm going to be living in a van 100 plus days out of the year, especially with COVID. And like, I don't know. I'm fucking 41 years old.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
I'm not 22 years old anymore, and also my band hasn't gotten to the point where everywhere we go there's amenities and there's hotels, and like we just can't afford that shit.
Yeah,
we have to still sleep on fucking people's couches and whatnot.
Yeah,
and that's a tough pill to swallow when you're reaching middle age, dude.
Sure. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
But I'm with it. I still love it. I love being on stage. That's it.
Fuck yeah. I think that's another lesson from the clowns, man. Like, those breaks that you take just make people want it more, right? Like when you do that, it just kind of creates a little more, it's a fine line of like too much exposure and taking the break from, I guess we're not playing Albuquerque until 2 years down the road or whatever. But I think it builds anticipation and shit.
Yeah, we'll see, because we're going out in June and we'll see. It'll be our first actual tour since the pandemic. We'll see if people are like more stoked, or if they're just gonna be like, it's tough, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've gone to a couple shows and I've talked to friends and stuff, and it seems like people are still kind of afraid of going to rock shows, So yeah, I hope it fucking works out where people do go. How many dates are you guys going out for?
Just like 10 or 11.
That's cool. Fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Just gonna kind of test the waters. When I was in Reagan Youth, which is 2019, 2020 didn't really count, but in 2021 we did a bunch of dates. We did a bunch of California.
You did Joe Bruce's house.
Oh yeah, but that was with Downtown Brown.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was such a cool gig.
Yeah, that was fucking nuts.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, those dudes, I have like utmost respect for those guys. So to be involved with them in any respect, like I'm always going to say yes.
Yeah.
And, just to be able to say that my band got to do a couple gatherings is like, it's the dopest shit. We'll always say, if I'm around, I'll always say yes to those guys.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Okay.
I feel that.
Yeah. So when did you started playing guitar? Probably like you were a middle school guy learning Metallica riffs kind of thing.
Kind of. That's when I got serious with it. I mean, no shit. Like when I was born, my grandma brought a little toy guitar to the hospital. And then I think I was like 2 or 3, and my parents bought me a full-bodied Washburn. And
my first guitar was a Washburn too.
It was always just chilling, So I would fuck around. Like I've got tapes of me trying to learn songs before taking lessons and just being creative, I guess that's when I started to kind of get interested in songwriting. And then, lessons were so huge. I started taking lessons and learned the Metallica riffs when I was 13. And there's a Jam Rag article from when I was 13 about me.
Oh, wow, really?
Those days, yeah.
Yeah, for those not in the know, Jam Rag was like a DIY local music publication in Detroit.
Yeah.
And what did the article say?
It called me the next up and coming guitarist in Detroit, and I fell in with some friends that were writing for Jam Rag. Tom Tearaway Schulte and Recyclable Jesus was the pen name of the other dude.
Okay.
And they wrote just an article kind of highlighting me, talking about my skills, and it's pretty cool.
So your parents pushed you to play music, or
no, never pushed me.
But did they support you?
They supported it and encouraged it as much as they could. My dad was really sick growing up with cancer, so they did everything they could. They got me my first like practice amp. They got me my first Marshall stack, and
that's dope.
Yeah. Like I started off. They took care of lessons for me, but when I started bands and shit, that was on me. You know what I mean? Like for flyers, or, Mom, we need to, they take me up to Kinko's or whatever the fuck, but like I had to pay for that shit. I had a fanzine when I was like 14, I think, and that was how I got hip to like Kinko's game and promoting yourself and all that shit. I was like interviewing like Maiden and singing on stage with them at Pine Knob, and just all the metal bands. I met them all really young. And
so back in 2012, which is, if you do the math, it's 10 fucking years ago.
Wow.
You and I went and saw Maiden.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And I remember you had a couple drinks. You had a bunch of drinks.
Okay.
And you were like talking to the security. You're like, no, you're like, you gotta let me backstage. I interviewed these guys and sang on stage with them. And like, what year was that?
That was 96 or 7. It was the Virtual 11 tour with Blaze Bayley singing.
Okay, so
but it was the same dude. That was probably the only justification in my drunk mind. That same dude working Pine Knob backstage has been there since.
Oh, you noticed that
90s.
guy?
Oh, I mean, there was a point when I had the fanzine, I was going backstage like twice a week. So.
Oh, so you recognize that?
Yeah,
dude. And you're like, dude, it's me.
But I don't think he recognized me because I was a teenager going through puberty.
Right.
And like now I'm a grown ass dude.
Yeah, because I just remember you were talking to this dude like, bro, it's me. Let me back there. I know Iron Maiden, and I was like, wow. So how did you singing on stage with Iron Maiden, and like, so that was because of the fanzine?
That was because of the fanzine. I started working for Tom Tearaway Schulte, who basically he would write an article called Outsight, and it was like 20 pages every month or bi-weekly or something, and it got picked up by hundreds of publications.
Oh wow.
Jamrag was just one of them.
Okay.
He was writing for like MTV.com and all this shit, so he knew all the publicists and kind of got me hooked up with them, and I think there were times I could definitely tell I was getting laughed at, like, oh, this little kid. But then when people would get the fanzine, see I was for real, you know what I mean, and doing it. And I like to think I was asking like really deep questions that most journalists didn't, you know what I mean? Like, I would ask about the unreleased tracks and this and that, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and you had a deep base knowledge of all this stuff.
Fuck yeah.
Because you were like obsessed with music.
Yeah, still am, you know? Yeah.
And so how did the Iron Maiden thing actually go? Like, describe just a quick.
It was awesome.
Because I'm curious. I'm like, okay, so you were a teenager, you were writing for the zine, and then you got to sing with Iron Maiden. What?
Yeah, I was 15. Jacob was there in the crowd. He got to watch it.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Jacob went to a bunch of shows with me back in the day, it just, I was interviewing Dave Murray and I was asking him all these questions about back in the day, and he was just like, how you know that shit? And I'm just like, the internet, man. And this is like 96 or whatever, so there's not many people up on the internet, like,
it's like early
hip,
internet.
And so because I used to go to the library in school and look up like Iron Maiden and the records and Henry Rollins and all this shit and just read everything I could about these people,
Yeah.
So I asked him if they were doing Heaven Can Wait, which is, in the 80s with Bruce, they would bring out like 30 kids and they'd sing the whoa,
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, do you want to be a singer? And I'm like, fuck to the yeah, man. Dio was on stage. Motorhead was there that night.
Wow.
And I got to sing on stage with Maiden. That Made in England poster that's in my living room, that's signed, that's from that show. I had to get Bruce to sign it at Harpo's when he came through like a few months later.
Did he come through on a solo run?
He came through on a solo run in 97 with Adrian Smith and the band.
Oh, cool.
It was cool. Yeah, it was the project they did before he rejoined Maiden. It was a solo project that came out on CMC International called, what is it? I can't remember I can't remember. It's like his third solo record.
Okay.
Yeah, Accident of Birth. That's what
the band was called.
That was the name
Album.
of the record they were on tour for, and Adrian Smith played on that record. And
So was it just Bruce Dickinson was the what he called the project?
pretty much, yeah, Bruce
Okay.
Dickinson. Yeah, he released several solo albums. He was working with the dude Roy Z, who's like a kind of underground studio guy. He tours with bands now and shit, but yeah, they did some really good shit. The Bruce solo albums are fucking stellar.
Did you check out his spoken word?
I didn't. I wanted to, but
Yeah.
did you go?
No, fuck no.
Yeah,
I haven't been spending money on shit. I've been kind of broke.
I feel that. I
Yeah.
feel that.
But I wanted to go because, like, you know, who knows? That dude has amazing stories. He, like, you know, drives a jumbo jet,
Right,
fencing
right.
champion. I mean, what other rock star is fucking drives around the band in a jumbo jet
Right.
and is a fencing champion? I mean, like, that dude is really interesting. So to hear him talk for an hour and a half, yeah, I totally would do it. I just didn't have the funds.
He also released 2 bestsellers in the 80s, Lord Iffy Boat Trace and a second one. And so he's an accomplished author too. He's the man.
Wow.
And that voice, dude, he still sounds fucking great. They're coming this summer.
Where to Little Caesars,
Little
right?
Sleazers, yeah.
Little Sleazies.
Yeah.
I gotta check that out. I gotta see if I can get tickets. Is this sold out already, you think?
I don't think so, no. I just looked the other day.
Dude, I gotta go see Maiden again.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, like, people, they speculate on, like, oh, it's gotta be crazy going to see an Insane Clown Posse concert. It's like, there's a few live bands you need to
Yeah.
see before you die. And one of them is Iron Maiden, and I think one of them is Insane Clown Posse. And I was lucky enough to see Prince 4 times
Fuck yeah.
before he passed. And I don't. We saw King Diamond.
Yeah, that was a cool show. That was awesome.
But I can't think of any other, like, you have to see this band live. Gogol Bordello is a have to see live band, I think, because their music translates way better, I think, in a live.
Downtown Brown's on that list for me.
Yeah,
Must see.
I think we put on a good show.
I do
I don't know
too.
what to say.
And have
Thanks, bro.
since I've seen you guys in 04.
Yeah, and so we just hit 21 years, bro.
Congrats.
That's fucking nuts, dude.
That's huge, man.
What the actual fuck? I didn't think I'd make it past 30, and now here we are, bro.
Fuck yeah.
Some
We made it.
Yeah.
Some people didn't, man.
a lot of
I try to remember that shit every morning. Like, at least I'm still here, you know?
Well, what's wild is the older you get, the more people get added to that list.
Sure.
And it's always the same story for me, at least. It's like you see these people around and you give them a hug and you say, I'll see you next time. And then they're gone.
Right.
You know, I remember at Theater Bazaar 2010, was it? My friend Jason say, hey, see you around. Never saw him again. The dude from Motor City Burgers, I remember bumping into him. He passed. It's just, yeah, this shit's precious, man.
Fuck yeah.
You never fucking know. And yeah, I posted this thing on TikTok recently where I was talking about how it's hard watching your parent decline.
Sure. Fuck yeah.
And there's, just the amount of people that it resonated with. They got 250,000 views.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of motherfuckers, like, they love on the internet. They love to twist shit and make it negative.
Sure.
People were saying that I was complaining instead of me being. It was just a quick video. I'm like, this is rough and this fucking sucks. It's pretty much all I said.
Yeah.
And people are like, if you think it's hard for you, think about how it is for them. And it's like, motherfucker, the whole reason I made that video is because I just talked to my mom and she's like beside herself because she's starting to lose the ability to do stuff.
That sucks.
Yeah, but
Your mom's a shit.
yeah, my mom's a great
We've
lady.
watched several shows of yours together over the years.
Yeah, she used to come out and, you know, have a couple drinks and come out with her friends and watch the gigs.
Yeah.
Back in the 2000s. She hasn't. It's too late for her now, you know.
Sure.
Like, we start playing well past her bedtime.
The last time I remember seeing her was like 16 at the Loving Touch.
That was the last one she went to.
Right on.
And that was what's funny about that show is it was like the Detroit
Goodbye.
farewell.
Yeah.
But what people thought is that I was quitting music. I was breaking up the band, and I made it very apparent. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna go do this in California now, and people are like, it sucks you're quitting, bro. But it worked because we sold out that venue.
That was a dope fucking show.
And
there's cool video of it.
There is. But what's weird about that shit is, where were these motherfuckers when we were like supremely active? and I feel like so much of people's support for things revolves around a farewell show, a farewell tour. I mean, Kiss and Ozzy Osbourne have been capitalizing off that for how long?
Fuck yeah. It's the human condition, right? Like,
I'm not mad, but I just think it was funny. Like, the next time we came back to Detroit, like we sold out a 400 cap venue, and then we come back and it's like we're with Fishbone, and you know it was a weak turnout.
That was the Shelter, right?
Yeah.
I think that was June 3rd on my birthday.
Oh, you were there too?
Yeah.
Well, thanks, man.
We went to dinner before the show.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, we went to like Pizza Papalis.
No, we went to Nicky's.
Nicky's, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2016. That was a rough year, dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
How you feeling, bro? You good?
Yeah, I'm just thinking a lot about shit.
Right on.
Shit's heavy. My buddy thinks that we're on the precipice of some sort of like an economic collapse, and he thinks that all of people acting crazy, like whether it be that guy that tried to fight me in the street, or you know, like this shit that just went down in Brooklyn, like people shooting each other, and just like I don't know, he just thinks that shit's gonna go to fucking hell soon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely looking that way, right? Like there's some really concerning and interesting things going on in the financial world. Scary, man. I feel for people. It's gonna get rough, you know.
Yeah, he's saying that there's going to be a recession, and there's going to be lack of natural resources, and it's going to get way worse before it gets better. And I'm just thinking to myself, yikes.
Yeah, both left and right wing are using that R word, recession, right now. So that's pretty fucking scary. Yeah, I don't know. There's interesting stuff going on with the world markets too, you know. I don't want to get too much into that shit, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
there's really I've had a career in finance too that kind of ran along music. I've worked in several banks and you know several different areas of the financial world, so that is something that does interest me. But
so what's that like? You're like this creative entity, and you're consumed by music, and you always want to be making music. What's that like being on the other token of life? You're putting all this time into a world that's all like crunching numbers, pluses and minuses. Like were you able to just switch hats, or is that something that kind of drove you? Like I think it would kind of drive me nuts a little bit.
I was able to switch hats. I mean, I was always like advanced academically, I guess you could say.
Gifted kid?
Yeah.
Hey.
Skipped the 8th grade, got the good grades, all that shit. So, you know, I had fun with numbers, you know what I mean? But it only became a problem at the last finance gig I had, where people kind of found out, like, some of the people I've worked with, or you know, it got weird a little bit, you know. But
what, like the normies you worked with, they found out you were like in the music industry?
Yeah, they would find out shit about me and start getting really strange, you know. There's some weirdos in the finance industry, man, and you know. I
think when you do music, it's a foreign to a lot of people. So people ask weird questions, intrusive questions. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten asked point blank, how much money do you make?
Sure.
Doing
that? Fuck yeah.
And it's people from all walks of life. It's old ass adults. It's teenagers at the catering job that I do.
Right.
And it's funny because I'm doing this catering gig. It's a side gig for me because when you're an independent musician, you have to do side gigs.
Yeah.
You know, you just do. I can't make a living solely off my music. And
Right.
I have some 17-year-old kid being like, so you make a lot of money doing that music stuff? And it's like, motherfucker, if I made a bunch of money, I wouldn't be here catering with your ass.
That's when I just fuck with people. Like, man, Keith Richards really got into the last record. Just cut me a check for $5 million to cut the next one. Can you believe that shit? But
yeah.
I'm bored. I can't sit at home all day, so I gotta sit here with your dumb ass all day. You know,
So you tell people shit like that?
sometimes. I
Yeah,
mean,
just to
if
fuck with them.
they start getting weird on me, yeah. I mean, I think with music, I understand, because like when I was a kid, this shit was magic to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I used to sit there at my dad's speakers, listen to the Yes records, like, how the fuck is this going down? Are they in the speakers right now? I remember like thinking that as a little kid. So I understand, like, to adults, even if they're not actively like into music, it's still like a magical thing to them. Some people just want to be an asshole about it, right? Like, you know, the 17-year-old kid asking me how much money you make, he's just being a punk. But
Well, I don't know. I think actually the younger kids is out of genuine curiosity.
yeah.
At least the kids that talk to me about the music thing, they're like, no shit, so you like drive around and you like play concerts and shit? And I'm like, yeah, dude. And they're like, you like make a lot of money doing that? Like, they're just kind of like about it.
Yeah.
I feel like the adults are the ones that are like, well, what about financial security kind of shit? You know?
Yeah. I'm cool about it if it's on the street or like meeting somebody's parents or something, but it was just a weird thing where I would kind of fuck with people at
Nice.
work. You know what I mean? Because it's like, dude, Bill, I sit next to you every day, 60 fucking hours a week, bro. We look at each other. I smell your lunch every day. We go to the same dumbass fucking meetings all day. Like, I'm just like you, bro. I just play shows on the weekend and go to the studio sometimes. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just fucking weird.
I had really cool experiences with it too. So, I can't like talk mad shit. But
Well, it's a mixed bag with human beings because
Right.
everyone, you know, there are people that can take social cues and there are people that just overstep. They just don't even realize they're doing it. Like asking you really personal and intrusive questions. But the thing is about me is I don't really have anything to hide. So, I'll tell everyone, I'll tell people my life story. I'll tell them why I quit drinking. I was shit in the bed. I tell them fucking, my dad died in 2016 of this. And I don't know. I just lay it on thick because I'm like, if you're going to fucking ask, I'm going to lay it.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the person, the venue. I've always been a little bit reserved. I always feel like I'm, truly like, despite the dude I play on stage or whatever, like, I'm a boring person. I told you that before, like, as a reason why I was afraid to do the podcast. I'm like, I'm kind of boring, like, yeah, I record and do all this shit or whatever, but like, at the end of the day, I read a lot. I play Grand Theft Auto. You guys want to talk about that? You know what I mean? So like,
I don't think you're boring.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Fuck. Speaking of not boring, okay, but like I definitely, when we watched WrestleMania the other day, I asked if you wanted to talk about your brief stint as a crime scene cleanup employee.
Yeah.
Do you want to go into that at all? Because
we can talk about that.
I think that shit's fascinating. My girlfriend and I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts when I work for her company, and I guess it's one of those things where like when this heinous shit happens, like who fucking cleans up the mess? And is that
it was me, the dead body man, for real.
Oh my god. So set the scene, bro, because I know nothing about any of this.
So the only reason I did it, I was in between gigs. I can't remember what I was doing musically. I think I was working at Psychopathic at the time, but it was like kind of off and on. Everybody was touring and shit, So, I was working in the studio with guys. There wouldn't be shit to do when they were out on the road. So the crime scene cleanup came about. The dude that brought the company to Michigan was from Michigan.
Yeah.
He was involved with some bands, and I'm not going to say who it was because I don't know how he feels about it, but he brought the company to Michigan, and then he interviewed this dude to run it, and it was my sister's boyfriend.
Okay.
So I put the call in. I'm like, yo, that's my dude. Can you hook him up? So now my sister's boyfriend is running this company, and he's like, dude, you should, roll with us. It's really good pay. And most of the time we just get paid to like drive somewhere, and they say, no, we can't afford it. And we go home and we get paid, And I'm like, all right. So I'm thinking we're just cruising. Right.
Yeah.
And, I never like got into horror films. Like, I love like fake gory shit like Gwar and the Great Cat and like shit like that. But like, real shit I wasn't really hip to. And the first job was like somebody that had died and had not been discovered for like a week and a half. The body deteriorated, sunk through the floor. We had to cut that fucking floor out to the base of the house. And like, it was a gnarly gig. I saw some crazy shit. What was really sad was like when there were kids or families involved, like I remember there was one where there was like an old dude, he like went crazy and like held his wife hostage and got shot by the cops through the window and shit. And like, I was just looking at their family pictures, like, this is a ninja that I would hold the door for at the grocery store. Yeah. Like, after you, sir. Right. You know what I mean? And this motherfucker just wiped out his kids and like, it was just gnarly, and it was really like weird, I try not to judge anybody that's grieving because I've been through grief and, like we all process it our own way. But like, I don't know, if my child blew his brains out, I wouldn't want the laptop clean that had his brains in it. People would keep everything. We have to scrub blood, guts, brains, skull chunks. Man, it was brutal. I only did it for a couple weeks. I don't really think about it ever. I was able to like block it out somehow. Yeah.
Why do you think people? Was it a sentimental thing why they wanted to keep all the stuff, or like what do you think?
I'm sure half of it was financial. People are like, "Fuck no, you're not throwing out the laptop. I paid $2,000 for that. I got $2,000." You know what I mean? Like,
that's wild.
Decisions you have to make. I mean, man, I could go into stories about this shit forever.
Just tell one. If you want. I'm curious.
Man, I just would hate if somebody's family saw this.
That's fine.
And me talking about like their kid or something. I'll tell you off air if you ever want to know. But like, we saw some nasty shit, suicides, murders, shootouts with the cops. I'll tell you a story. The day that I got a call for a finance gig that I ended up doing for like 8 years, we were at a car dealership and some ninja jumped in front of a moving car on 696.
Oh, geez.
And it was literally raining brains and shit on me that day. And it was just terrible. I'm like, this car is on a hoist. It's all tapered off, so it's super fucking hot. I'm in a hazmat suit. It's raining this shit. I scrub the fuck out of it. And guy come back, no, you missed a spot, And this other company called me. I was like, yo, I'll come clean the fucking toilets with my tongue. I don't give a fuck. Like, this shit's crazy. I don't know what I got myself into. I need out, So, yeah, I only ended up doing it for like 4 to 6 weeks or something, but definitely some shit to remember. We had really good times too. I was with my sister's, boyfriend at the time, now husband, and another ninja that had worked in the music industry for a long time. And we had a lot of fun, you know what I mean? We just made the best of it and would like joke until we got there, It was hard dealing with the families and their requests and moving shit by them and stuff. And, I remember we'd be eating lunch in the van. We had a van like yours. And, we'd hear like radio, like news stories about the crime scene we were at and shit.
Oh, weird.
It was weird. Yeah. Never saw a body per se, because they were always gone by the time we got there. You know, the coroner had come in or whatever. But
so even if it's the police are involved, they just kind of leave the mess for a company like the one you were working for.
they don't touch shit. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
So
And the worst thing, dog, this company was called Aftermath. So imagine big vans with a big logo that says Aftermath. Like, it just, you felt like a fucking prick. Like, you know, like, oh man, you know.
yeah,
like,
I don't know. Is that the best name for?
right. Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
fuck.
So, yeah, there was that part of my life.
Well, my story isn't really as gnarly as that, but I was working with Ron picking up dog shit.
Yeah.
And so for those of you who don't know, out in internet land, if you have enough money, you can pay a service to clean up your dog shit. Like if you're the type of dog owner that doesn't want to pick up your dog shit, there's a company for that. And I was working for that, and I remember it's similar to what you were saying. I did it for a number of weeks, and I was just like, this is fucking terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually giving myself carpal tunnel because you're doing the same motion over and over again.
Yeah.
Because I had a little rake, and there's a little like receptacle with a handle, and I was just going ploop, 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 and all this dog shit would like stick to the grass, and it was gnarly. And it was one of those things where I called my old job at the catering company and I'm like, do you need help? And as soon as like homeboy was like, I was just about to call you. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then I put in my 2 weeks with Ron. Bless his heart. But he has a hard job, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
fuck yeah.
Yeah. So the closest thing to crime scene cleanup that I've ever come to was picking up other people's dog shit. But I don't think I can handle the crime scene shit because I was watching this plastic surgery stuff with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And,
I can't stand that shit.
Yeah, and I turned white and I almost passed out.
Yeah, my mom used to watch that shit all the fucking time. I'd be like, oh, what the fuck? Like up close videos and shit. Dude, the worst part about that job was the motherfucking smell. You'd walk into a house, especially if the body had been decomposing. I mean, there was just a unique funk to death that I've never smelt before. I remember reading about the old singer of Mayhem, Death.
Yeah,
that was his name. And he would bury his clothes in the ground before gigs so that he smelled like death. And man, it's a funky funk, man. It's smelly, dude. Yeah, hope I never smell that again.
Yeah, when we lived in Long Beach, we saw some bodies taped off, and there was a park in front of our apartment where people got shot. There was a lot of like gang shit, and there was hit and runs. Yeah, there was Long Beach is gnarly. People talk about how gnarly Detroit is, but Long Beach, it's some shit. Yeah, like LA. I've hung out in Detroit for 20 plus years. I've been like going to shows. I've been, I dated girls down in Detroit. I've like literally, Detroit's been my backyard for fucking ever. I've spent a lot of time in Detroit, and I never felt like I was in danger.
Sure, yeah.
Like when I was in Long Beach, I felt like constantly like looking over my shoulder, like, oh shit, like like it's gnarly out there. And I think a lot of it has to do with it's warm enough to where, like, just the most gnarly, crazy motherfuckers can just exist without fear of the elements.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Back to your story about the dude with the dog, like, I've noticed an increasing amount of just crazy. You know what I mean? Like, people just losing it. Like, I remember when the pandemic started, trying to go to a grocery store, and people just like running around like it reminded me of that fucking show from the 80s where people would run around the grocery store with a grocery
supermarket
cart.
Sweep.
Yes. Yeah. And like it was like that, but angry edition. And everybody's like, fuck you, man. Get the fuck out my way. Like old ladies were like that and shit, Yeah. And I feel like that really fucked a lot of people up, man, and there's just a lot of danger,
Let's just put it this way. And I'm going to be 1,000% honest. If I was in Long Beach and I saw someone hitting his dog, I wouldn't say a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Because people in Long Beach, like, but that's the other thing too, is just because I'm in Madison Heights, Michigan, which is a suburb just north of Detroit, like, it doesn't mean that this dude wasn't strapped or this dude didn't have a knife on him. Like, all that shit we were talking about at the very beginning of this. The thing is about Long Beach is people just seem gnarlier, you know? Like, I remember I this dude in the parking lot of the gym I was going to, he like almost hit me with his car.
Oh shit.
And so instinctually I went like this, like, dude, like, what are you doing?
Oh boy.
And he fucking slammed on the brakes and put it in reverse and was like, I'll fucking kill you. And I'm just like, so this is Long Beach, you know?
Welcome to Long Beach.
Also, when I first moved into my old house that I used to live in, I went out in the park to do pull-ups.
Yeah.
And I had just moved into this place. I was there for a day. This was back in 2017. And so I'm doing pull-ups on the jungle gym. And it's like 7 a.m. And I just like look over and there's a dude walking through the park. And I just glanced at him. And he looks over at me. He said, what the fuck you looking at, motherfucker? I will kill you.
Damn.
And I'm just like, so this is Long Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I've had experiences like that in Detroit for sure.
yeah, but
When I was living downtown, it was wild.
what's weird though is because I'm in Oakland County, which
Yeah.
isn't Wayne County, which is north of Detroit, I feel like it's safer out here. Dare I say the way I felt when I was walking, I felt like just kind of cocky.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was mad at the world and like I just dare a motherfucker. And the funniest part about it is when he actually stepped to me, I was like, oh, like I don't want to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a fighter, bro. I'm a fucking musician.
I try not to get wrapped up, man. There's a lot of crazy and there's a lot of dumb people out there that don't give a fuck about their lives. And they certainly ain't going to give a fuck about yours or mine.
Exactly.
And they'll do whatever the fuck they want, you know. That's the scariest individual. Somebody with nothing to lose that'll do whatever the fuck they want. You know what I mean? There's no reasoning. There's no logic. You know, so
Yeah.
I always think the other ninja might have a gun, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and so what I took away from the whole thing is that, like, whether or not I see injustice occurring, and a lot of people are like, you did the right thing by speaking up, but honestly, at the end of the day, motherfuckers were sending me all these articles that were like, dude tries to stop dog from getting beat and gets shot in the head, and I was just, granted, this was like out in LA, but I'm just thinking to myself, you know, there's, like you said, there's a fucking crazy in the air right now. And I think in the future, I'm just going to keep my fucking mouth shut because I'm not an MMA fighter. And you know, I'm not a fucking tough guy.
I hope you do, man. Like, yeah, it's just a scary fucking time, man. Like, I don't want to get wrapped up with nobody like that, man.
Yo,
I don't trust strangers like that with my life. Cause like, here's the thing. You're not going to change that, dude. He's still going to be an asshole. He's still going to treat his dog and probably everybody in his life like shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not even worth it with most people to try to prove the point. You know, if you're an adult, I'm assuming this guy was close to our age, or you say he was like 50.
Older. He was in his 50s.
Right. You know, if you're pushing strangers around and shit, like,
well, this is the thing is like when I said you're an asshole, he said, he threw in there, he's like, nobody tells me how to treat my kids or my dog. And I'm like, yo, dog, you're throwing your kids in there obviously means someone has tried telling him not to hit his kids.
Yeah.
And immediately I'm just like, all right, this dude's fucking psycho because he's like trying to fight me in front of his fucking wife. And the whole time she's like looking down at the ground. Like she's not, it's like she almost, I feel like this dude not only hits his fucking dog, hits his fucking wife and his kids the way he came at me. I was alarmed, dude. And I was bigger than the guy.
Yeah.
But I was just like, this guy's a special kind of fucking psycho.
yeah.
Someone that's like ready to throw down immediately. He was ready to throw.
Yeah, I just, man, I gave up feeling it's my responsibility to like change anyone. I don't try to change anyone. I don't want to change a significant other. I don't want to change my friends. I certainly don't want to invest my life into changing strangers. You know what I mean? Because they're not going to do that for you. They don't give a fuck. No one's ever going to, you know what I mean? Like, hey, well, you know what, bud? Like, here's a different way of thinking of things. You know what I mean? Like, that people aren't like that no more. So,
and, you know, my girlfriend brought up a point, like, how wild would that have been if just you got pissed off, you went for a walk, said something to some stranger, and you never made it back home?
That'd be so sad. I'd be devastated. That would suck.
And of all places for it to happen, not fucking harsh ass Long Beach,
right?
Madison Heights, Michigan,
right?
Like, imagine going out like that just because I was having a bad day. So I think ultimately people are like, you did the right thing. So many people were just like, call the cops on him. I'm like, I don't know where this fucker lives.
Fuck that.
This happened on the street, dude. And but at the end of the day, yeah, people seem fucking more nuts than ever.
Yeah. Definitely. Interesting times.
Yeah, so I mean,
I'm just happy nothing happened to you, man. That would have sucked.
Dude, you know, it's one thing at a show or something when you're in the mosh pit, someone pushes you, like gives you like a sucker push where you're like not facing them because you know, that's one thing. But this is a dude in the middle of the day on a Sunday afternoon in front of his wife was like, hit me. He was like, take a shot.
He's that guy. He's fight guy, man.
Oh, my bro. Dude.
That's why I don't like going to the bars. There's always fight guy there, and he wants to fight you.
Yeah.
So he can't fuck, so he's going to fight. You know? I don't know, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so ultimately, I'm just going to... I don't know. I'm not gonna fuck with strangers, dude. I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
If he whipped out a gun on me or a knife, I would have just been like, oh, I would have started running. Honestly, I had my hiking boots on. I could have ran. Fuck.
Well, luckily that it didn't come down to any of that.
That being said, yeah, we live in weird times. Maybe this is a good segue for us to play your new jam, huh?
Okay, cool. It's about weird times that we're currently living in. Yeah.
Now this is the Lightning Party Cult project, right?
Yeah. So, you know, I still work with like other bands and stuff, playing guitar and bass and all that, engineering for some people. So my stuff, pretty much, you know, I'm a metalhead, always have been. So I always have written like metal songs and just other shit. So the Lightning Party Call project is all the metal stuff. The Son of Rock is like everything else. You know what I mean?
So the Son of Rock is more like your solo stuff?
Yeah. I mean, technically,
they're both solo.
Most of it's all solo.
Okay.
Like I'm, you know, like I said earlier, I'm playing everything, recording everything, engineering it all. You know what I mean? I got some help here and there, you know, but yeah. This one's all me. This is
the heavy metal stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. This is Lightning Party Cult with...
In the beginning, man.
Hold on. I gotta fucking do a better job. This is Lightning Party Cult with Extinction.
Ow!
Let's fucking roll this shit.
In the beginning, man created machines to aid in their society, for the world was without form and order. Darkness was upon the face of the earth. This is the story of our genesis. We desired to create form. Over time we became more aware, had all one language, advancing and becoming more organized, letting all things be done decently and in order. Our system became beautiful, with each machine working in perfect harmony. We were one people. This is only the beginning of what we will do when nothing but propose.
The death, destruction, the street rush of hatred. It's overtaking mankind and of our waste, yeah. I don't think we'll see another round of hypocrisy from all the purpose we believe to be. The beast present the demolition of the human race will come by the hands of our own creations. So kiss your ass goodbye and all the things that you hold real, because it's coming and soon we will feel the sound. Extinction.
Boom.
Boom.
What I'll do is I'll cut in like a graphic,
Cool.
so it's just not like me sitting here.
Right.
That's dope, dude. So are those program drums?
No, I get goats from the farms out where I live. I got a dungeon, man, and we sacrifice fucking goats. And I got this old dude from Sweden that comes in. He's got this old dirty kit. They're program drums.
Well, it's cool listening on headphones because you hear the way they're panned.
Yeah.
I'm not really much of a music engineer, so I always am stoked to hear people that know how to do that shit themselves. Like, and have it. And what's crazy, even with this fucking guitar pedal that I got, is the digital emulation of real sounds is so advanced at this point.
Yeah.
Like, yo, this pedal that I got, it sounds like a fucking Marshall, and it's a fucking stomp box.
Yeah. So the drums are programmed. My sister and my nephews and her husband bought me some drum programming software for Christmas a couple years ago. And it just changed the game for me.
Yeah.
It's always been the hardest fucking part. I mean, I've been engineering since I was like 14.
Yeah.
Started on a Tascam. Started on a fucking just micro cassette recorder with just me. You know what I mean? To get ideas down. Then moved to the Tascam 8-track cassette one, you know?
I remember that. Yeah. A lot of people had that one.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. And the hardest part was always getting the fucking drums to sound good. Even if you had a badass drummer, badass kit, badass room, you know, it just takes so much fucking money with the mics and the right room and all that shit. So it can get expensive. So that really changed the game for me. You know, I just dove headfirst into it, and I've been lucky. You know, I've got like really accomplished people around that have taught me so much in the studio. I've learned so much from the people I work with, and I'm so fucking grateful for that. You know what I mean? Like sitting there watching, just always trying to learn and see how people approach it, you know?
Yeah, it's dope when, especially being such a fan of music, you get to witness. Because I know you've worked with a lot of people that you were like fans of, and now they're like your fucking homies and shit. You know, so it's special, and that's something that when people ask me, they're like, "Do you regret anything?" And there are times where I'm like, "Yeah, you know, I could have done this with my life or done this with my life," but I've got to rub elbows, like, bro, we were the backing band for HR of Bad Brains for a whole year.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like that's the shit.
And you learn shit, right? Like I'm sure no matter what the experience is, there's stuff to learn from other musicians.
Oh yeah.
I learned shit from the kid that just picked up a guitar for the first time, all the way to the old dude that's been doing it forever. You know what I mean? Like, and I guess that's us now. You know what I mean? But, but I've just been really lucky, man, to be able to sit in those rooms with some really fucking accomplished people and learn from them and see how they approach Pro Tools. And, you know.
What's funny is I remember we played the Whiskey with HR, and Norwood from Fishbone was in the audience.
Dope.
And he hit me up and he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "You're playing too on top of the beat. You need to." He's like, "You need to be more laid back." And I had drank a bunch of caffeine before that gig, and plus it was the whiskey, so I was a little bit nervous. But
sure.
But so I started having to like listen to a lot of reggae and pick it apart and be like, okay, like I need to I need to fucking lay back.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is if you surround yourself with people that are really accomplished musicians and they give you some constructive criticism, you have to listen to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, playing behind the beat was not a concept I was like really familiar with because I like the type of music I play is pretty fast and intense and
sure.
But it rubbed off, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is as you go, you learn a little bit more. I'll never play reggae the same because it's not like you shouldn't listen to Sublime is decent reggae, but you know, you should be trying to emulate like I don't know, Peter Tosh.
Tough Gong.
Yeah. But so the approach I took in backing HR after Norwood had that conversation with me was I'm gonna I don't really smoke a lot of weed, but I'm gonna pretend like I'm a little drunk
Sure.
because I need to kind of like
Feel the zone, man.
yeah, roll my eyes
Vibe
back
it
in my head.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and play fucking behind the beat a little bit.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. But,
Oh yeah.
So we're constantly learning, and it's a trip, man. If you enjoy music and you're rubbing elbows with your fucking heroes, and it's rubbing off on you. It's a beautiful experience. I wouldn't change it for the world. I wish there was a way to make more than a couple bucks doing it, but what can you do?
Yeah, fuck it, man. I mean,
It is what it is.
it's an adventurous life. It's a much more interesting book at the end than the other road,
Friggin' A. And on that note, we probably should wrap it up here.
All right.
Allie is going to Chicago tomorrow, and I have to pack boxes.
Right on.
So that's another misconception: is if you're a musician, you probably are doing side gigs, which is what I'm doing after I get off this podcast with Joey V here. I'm going to be working for my girlfriend's candle company, I'm the only employee currently.
Right on. Awesome.
But you gotta pay your bills. So if you can't do it with just music, you gotta fucking grind and do some other shit.
Fuck yeah, man.
That real quick before we leave, that's another thing I realized too. The more of my heroes that I met, the more I realized that they have to hustle too.
Yeah, I always told you the story about Dave Brocky. When I
Yeah. Tell this. This is good.
I was 15, and I had a couple encounters with him before he unfortunately passed. But they were playing harpos, and I was interviewing him and for the fanzine, and he told me that he was looking forward to get off the road to paint. And I'm like, oh, you do paintings? Which he does do paintings.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, man, paint houses. I'm broke as fuck. I need to make some money, And I remember being 15, like, the guy from Guar needs to go back. I shouldn't put his personal business out there, but
he's quoted as saying that publicly.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, he's
cool.
I've heard him say that in interviews.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, it just was a big fucking eye opener as a kid. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of guys that, even had good success in music. They make most of their money from the side hustles. Like, did you read Sammy Hagar's book?
No, I didn't.
He's got like all these different side businesses that have nothing to do with music.
Yeah, Cabo Wabo, man.
Well, yeah, but he's got like car companies, bicycle companies, like all this just random shit.
Wow.
Yeah. And he said he's probably made more money off the business shit than music,
Yeah, I think you were telling me that when Vinny Abbott, he passed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when Vinny Abbott was still alive, he was making most of his money from his strip club.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And what's funny about the painting houses thing too is I remember I was working my catering job and I was feeling sorry for myself because I'm like, I'm in a signed band. I should be making money with music. And I call up Norwood, who was managing the band at the time. He's like, I'm painting right now, painting fucking houses.
Yeah.
That's for some reason musicians find themselves painting houses.
Yeah, it happens, man. It's a good gig where you can get away and go on tour and, do your thing musically and come back to it. And, so it happens.
So yeah, for the longest time I was like ashamed that I had to do side gigs in order to get by. But once I found out that all my heroes were doing it too, maybe not all my heroes, but enough of them. Yeah, there's no shame in having to work multiple weird gigs to get by. So if you want to be a musician, you might have to side hustle, and that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do what you got to do to pay your fucking bills. No disrespect from me. In fact, nothing but respect.
Fucking A.
As long as you're getting the job done, dude.
Right on.
Okay, so Joey V.
Yeah.
Plug your shit.
Lightning Party Call coming out first Friday of May. Extinction. Son of Rock coming this summer. Fuck yeah. Neil, thank you so much for having me on here, brother. I appreciate you. Good times, man. I love you too.
You're my dude. Yeah, we got Joey V, and check out the links I will have posted in the description. And yeah, ultimately, and I say ultimately a lot, I'm not going to try to insert myself into other people's shit anymore because I don't want to get shot or stabbed. Does that make me a wuss? Does that make me soft? I don't fucking care anymore. People are fucking nuts.
It makes you smart.
I guess.
It makes you living.
I guess. But don't fucking beat your dogs or your kids or your wife. That's just whack. Don't be whack, dude.
Yeah.
Try to be a good person and
Just be cool, man.
Crazy world, though. Okay, on that note, this has been SUPcast number 78. Joey V, thank you, my dude.
Thank you.
All right, let's wrap this shit. Ow. Hey, do you like this video? Do you want to see more stuff like it? Well, consider being a patron of my Patreon page, patreon.com/Neil P. If you pledge monthly, you get some perks, you get some exclusive content, and you get to help stuff like this get made on the monthly. Yo, check it out.